much as I want to hear, but friends and family were telling me about some of the stuff that was said on the news, on Facebook, and I'm just like, all these allegations about what happened, and the autopsy report's not done yet, and they're trying to make me out to be a monster.
A mother had already fractured her baby once. She served time, got her daughter back, and somehow, despite the warning signs, the bruises, the custody fights, and the fear from family members, that little girl ended up before she ever turned. What happened to Averylee Hobbs is heartbreaking on its own. But what makes this case so infuriating is that the ending did not come out of nowhere. This was a child with a documented history of injury, a mother with a prior conviction, and a system that still let the situation move forward until it was too late. And by the time Britney Mays finally stood in court and admitted what she did, the question was no longer whether the abuse had happened. The real question was how many chances were missed before a 4-year-old girl was found unresponsive in a bathtub and later from blunt force trauma to the head.
No, you're fine.
Running around here all morning.
I get it.
So how you holding up?
Trying to do the best I can. I've got friends and family trying to make sure I stay busy because they all know that if I just sit, I will shut down, and obviously I can't do that.
Yeah.
So
How far along are you? I can't remember.
I actually got 2 months left.
Okay. You feeling pretty good though?
As good as I can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Considering what's happened here, I understand that.
So that, and everything that they've been putting on the media, the Facebook, I ended up actually deleting my Facebook because they were stealing pictures of my daughter off my Facebook. I'm just
Okay.
like, if you guys care about her, why don't you have pictures of your own? Why do you guys take them off my stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Almost like they were picking on you, trying to.
yeah, and it's people, they were, as much as I don't want to hear, but friends and family were telling me about some of the stuff that was said on the news, on Facebook, and I'm just like, all these allegations about what happened, and the autopsy report's not done yet, and they're trying to make me out to be a monster. Dad, the father of the year, he wasn't allowed to have any type of contact with her, didn't pay any type of support, but he's this great person, but I'm like this horrible person. I'm like, I fought hand and foot to get her back and to make sure she had stuff I didn't have growing up. I busted my ass.
Right. Okay.
And I'm
Well,
just
how are you holding up? How are you and Charles? Are you guys okay? Because I know that an incident like this can be very stressful on a marriage.
you
guys hanging in there?
we're hanging in there. We finally actually just went back home the other day because we hadn't been. We actually went back.
You're talking about back on Beech?
Yeah, we
Okay.
actually went back home. Let's see, today we went back Monday night.
Okay. Yeah, it's Wednesday now.
We went back Monday night. Obviously, it was hard for both of us because last place he seen her was when he put her in timeout when he left. Me, the last place I seen her was in the shower, and the shower was still chaotic from the whole incident.
I'm
So
sorry.
I'm just like,
Okay.
it took some time. The first couple days after I came home from the hospital, I don't want to say we were fighting, but it was kind of attitude.
You mind if I sit on the couch over
Oh, go
there?
ahead. It was kind of like attitude towards each other, and then because me with everything going on, all I wanted is just to be held by my husband and everything. He's like, he wouldn't touch me, he wouldn't look at me, and
Okay.
I'm just so me with everything going on. I'm like, why? And he goes, because Avery was my mini-me. She looked dead on me, except her hair was lighter than mine.
Right.
So, and that was his reason. He goes, every time I look at you, he goes, there's Avery. He goes, I just. So it was.
You guys able to get back to work or?
He went back to work.
Okay.
Well, he went to work Monday and stayed an hour and kind of freaked out because he got the call while he was at work. So
Yeah.
he
nah.
freaked out. And
I understand.
left. And then he was supposed to go in yesterday, but his boss told him that he was going to put time in, don't come in. I've not been back to work at all.
All right. Well, I completely get that. I don't blame you. My attitude would be take as much time as you need.
Well, and that's, I tried to get my OBGYN to sign my paperwork so I can start my medical leave so I can,
Sure.
And actually he decided to refuse me prenatal care.
Really?
Yes, told me, he had enough nerve to tell me that I didn't love Avery, I didn't want her, and I don't want the baby I'm carrying, so he was no longer going to give me prenatal care.
Okay.
So, which obviously a medical professional cannot do regardless of...
That sounds pretty extreme.
...of what they feel. I mean, I know there's a lot with the news and whatnot, but they can't just refuse that because that's child endangerment.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, most of everything that's on the news
Is a lot right now.
is inaccurate. I mean, let's be honest, right? It's
I know
not
that.
it's not about fact, it's about a story. And the more interesting the story that they can tell, the more viewers, right? More people pay attention, the more interested in it.
I mean, I know my neighbors. I had 2 of my neighbors that came up and visited me while I was in the hospital. They even got Charles to come up and visit because you've seen him. He was a mess. They got Charles to come up and visit. They were telling me about how people were telling them that somebody got stabbed in my yard, my dog bit my daughter, she was drowned, and then there's stuff on Facebook about how I beat her with slippers until she died. I tied her to the bed and all types of stuff. I'm just like, oh my God.
Like, you know what? It's best to just stay away from it.
Like I said, I haven't.
Turn it off. Don't watch it.
I didn't watch the news anyway. I care less about the news. But yeah, when all that stuff definitely started, I'm like, yep, I'm definitely not watching the news. I found out they were taking pictures of my daughter off my Facebook. I deleted my Facebook. I'm just like, this is, and then, I got my sister-in-law telling me that I had 2 people that were threatening me because I found out about...
what helped me understand, well, you know what, let me back up. First of all, I've been thinking about you guys since I met you that night at the hospital. So I want you to know, and I know I'm a policeman, I'm a detective, but I want you and your family members to know that you guys have been on my mind, okay? I know that this is a completely stressful, horrible thing, and I feel for you and your family, I really do, okay? And I'm horribly sorry about Avery. I mean, I know she passed, okay? That's the first thing. I think it's important for you to understand that, I'm a father, I've got kids. I completely understand or have an appreciation for how much, you loved Avery. It's clear to me that you and Charles cared for her, and that kind of breaks my heart that, knowing that you lost your daughter. So I'm very sorry for that, okay? You and I, we spoke. I also spoke to Charles. I indicated to you that at some point I wanted to meet up with you later on down the road because I had questions for you, and then you also had questions for me. I didn't know all the answers when you and I immediately spoke. I didn't have a lot of information. First of all, because I had just learned about what happened. Just started kind of looking into things, right? And then the other part of it too is, I'm not a medical doctor, so a lot of the things, that you had concerns about, I just, quite frankly, I just couldn't answer. So that's the reason why I asked you if you were okay with maybe later on that, you and I could sit back down again. You indicated to me that you wanted to help with your daughter's investigation, and I appreciate your level of cooperation. I really do. So, we've learned a lot. We know a little bit more, and we can get into that here in a little bit. But one of the things that I have to do, and it's just kind of a procedural thing, okay? Because you're here, and because your daughter passed, I have to read you your rights, okay? Because I'm going to ask you some specific questions about your daughter.
Right.
Okay. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
You have any questions about that? Okay. All right. Let's see. ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before he asks you any questions and have him with you during questioning. If you can't afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. That's always a mouthful.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So this whole thing regarding the family and friends, help me best understand. They're kind of picking on you. They're kind of harassing you.
I don't want to say they're harassing me, but they threatened me, and it was on Facebook. One of Charles's sisters, well, actually 2 of his sisters, have kind of been watching the stuff they post on Facebook since, the stuff that they're doing on the media. And,
Okay.
So they've been screenshotting everything, and I heard about the other one. I didn't see it, but the other one I actually seen a post last week, I think it was. I called down to the corners to see if the autopsy was done so
Okay.
I could make funeral arrangements.
Sure.
Because I know the autopsy has to be done before.
Right.
And, they said, yeah, blah, blah, whatever. Well, then the next day, I get woke up to my dad, my brother's ex-girlfriend, which is my niece's mom, blowing up my phone, going on about funeral arrangements, and, I didn't tell him. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, come to find out, father went down and made funeral arrangements to have her taken out to Indiana, buried, and everything else.
Okay. Would that be Jamie?
Yes.
Is that Averylee Hobbs?
Yes.
Okay. That's biological father, right?
Right.
Okay.
So obviously I called the coroner because I'm
Right.
the one that has custody and everything. I'm like,
Right.
no.
You are the next of kin.
Right. I'm like, no. This is no. So they put a hold on her body. And I guess the coroner had to call the funeral home, and the funeral home had to call them. I don't know exactly how that worked, but
Okay.
eventually, I went and talked to Newcomer, and they told me to come back and set an appointment, and they needed that paperwork as well, that
Okay.
stating he wasn't allowed to have contact, so I was able to sign off without needing his signature. Well, then they called me and told me that the coroner needed the same paperwork.
Okay.
So I called the coroner back.
And help me understand the paperwork you're speaking of, is that like a restraining order? Is that what you're talking about, or?
It was through the courts during a custody battle between myself and Jamie's mom and stepdad.
Okay. Okay.
It was put in there that he wasn't allowed to have any contact with her.
Okay. So that came from a magistrate. That was a
Yes.
judge's order, a magistrate's order,
Yes, sir.
that he was not allowed to have any contact with Avery.
Right.
Okay.
So they needed that same paperwork. So I called the coroner and, told them about it, or asked them what they wanted me to do, and they're like, well, let me see what's going on, because that day I talked to like 3 different people.
Gets confusing, yes.
And then he comes back and goes, well, somebody came down here with a paperwork about an injunction, and he gave me the date. So obviously I was like, okay. So called around, blah, 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 whatever. And finally got the information I needed about the injunction and the time and the place I needed to go. And then talked to the funeral home, and they were like, well, obviously we can't do anything until after the injunction. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then, well, apparently, I guess Tammy posted something, which is Jamie's mom. Posted something
Okay, so she would be the paternal grandmother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Posted something on Facebook about how I have Avery's body on hold and they can't do the funeral and whatever.
Okay.
Well, I guess, people sharing it and whatnot. Apparently one girl said that she didn't know me, but she lived over by me, so if they told her where I lived, that she'd come and smack the out of me. And then another guy was like, he's a friend of Jamie's.
Okay.
And he goes, no, I know her personally, just let me know where she's at and I'll go and I'll quickly change her mind. And I'm just like, well, now I've got lies out there, I've got people threatening me, I'm like, can't even walk outside because there's news everywhere. I'm like,
right.
This is just crazy. And then, like I said,
Did you ever have the occasion to talk to Jamie or his mother or anything like that? No?
No.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, and if I'm wrong, stop me. Before you could react, it sounds like Jamie and his family went to the coroner's office and they tried to handle all of the burial details before you and Charles could react to it.
Right.
And then once you found out that they were actually going to take Avery and have her buried in Indiana, that's when you went to the coroner and you said, hey, look, I am the mother, I am the next of kin. He has no right to Avery.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the coroner did the right thing. They put a hold and said, wait a minute, we're confused here.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead and hold this until we can sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like it's going to go before a judge?
Yeah, August 15th, so actually Monday.
Okay.
We go for an injunction for custody of Avery's body.
Okay.
So, which, again, this is...
Because your wishes are that you be the one that handle Avery's burial and all of that.
Well, at this point, because no parent should bury a child or have to deal with this. Child should not pass before a parent.
No, yeah.
So, and I'm not ready. Because, I even told the hospital, I'm a firm believer in organ donor. I don't want to donate organs because I'm just not ready to let go. So I wanted her to be cremated and be up next to her baby brother that we miscarried last year.
Okay.
Because I'm just...
Do you mind if I ask where that would be? Where?
Charles actually built a shelf, and right now it's currently in our bedroom.
Okay. Oh, so like in an urn?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to have her cremated because I'm just not ready.
No, I understand. No, I get it.
I'm just, yeah. So, and apparently they found out about that too, and they're like, oh, she's trying to hide evidence. I'm like, what evidence is there to hide?
Right.
Autopsy's done. They posted something. Actually, my dad sent me to it. I can actually send. This is one screenshot I do have of something they posted, so I can actually show you this one because I'm not sure word for word what it says. But it was basically the coroner is trying to hide something, cover up what Children's Services did, because they would constantly call Children's Services and Children's Services would come out and find nothing wrong with Avery, so they dismissed all allegations.
So, just so I'm clear, Michael Anthony
is Tammy's brother. Tammy has been married twice.
Tammy is the paternal grandmother.
Yes.
Okay. So this is Michael talking to Tammy on Facebook.
Yes.
You got to help. I'm an old guy. I don't.
I get it. I don't even get on Facebook that much, so believe me. I'm just like some of these things.
I'm trying to learn this whole Facebook and the Twitter, and I'm struggling.
Oh,
okay.
I don't even bother with Twitter.
Okay, so this is allegedly Michael writing to Tammy.
Yes.
Tammy, honey, two things need to happen. The coroner's office is being pretty squirrely. They said that you'd have to go to probate court over custody. If they release little Avery, she's going to destroy the evidence, preventing further inquiry, meaning you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're the pronoun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would insist that a coroner outside of the Hamilton County system examine her. I'm concerned that one agency is covering for another's faults. Right now, I just got off the phone with the coroner in the Hamilton County helicopter just appeared in front of my house doing slow circles. I said to the guy that there would be hell to pay if there was some kind of crooked fix, and he said I was threatening him. In the court of public opinion, the other thing is I'd contact the press. Okay, so this is who? So help. Michael is who to Tammy again?
Her brother.
Okay, so Michael would be Avery's uncle.
Right.
Okay.
So yes, I mean, this is, my thing is what they're talking about agency covering up for agency is
Right.
they feel the coroner's is covering up for children's services because, like I said,
Which is
Tammy-
absolutely ridiculous. It's
Tammy
not
and Jonathan-
not true, right? You know that.
right. Tammy and Jonathan would constantly call children's services after every time they seen Avery because of the custody battle that we had.
Okay.
They got visitation. It was
Okay. Okay, so you won custody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tammy, she kept
she would get
visitation rights?
She got visitation, yes.
Okay.
Um,
What was that like? What were the
It
requirements to her visiting Avery?
obviously no contact with Jamie.
Okay.
But they would just get Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. But it was like 1 week Monday, 1 week Tuesday, skip a week because they couldn't do Wednesday, and then Thursday it'd skip 2 weeks and it'd go Monday, Tuesday.
So it was essentially like 1 day a week,
Basically.
with every third week they would skip a week. Okay, and it would rotate from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday?
Yes.
And then they would have her for 24 hours
No,
or 8 hours?
they would have her from 3 to 8. Sorry, I meant to say 2 to 8, but no, it was 3 to 8.
Okay, so like 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.? So just a handful of hours, late afternoon, early evening kind of a thing. Okay.
And the day after they had a visit, my caseworker Jermaine, he was trying to close my case because the caseworker on before, she should have closed it 2 years ago and never did.
Who was that person?
Stephanie Smith.
So she should have closed the case 2 years before. Why do you say that?
Well, actually, she was supposed to close it. Sorry, not 2 years before. Last year.
Okay.
But she never did.
And this is a JFS
JFS worker.
Okay.
She never did because there was always something she thought I needed to do, even though I had custody and I didn't have to do services anymore. So once I got custody, she was supposed to close it and never did.
Okay.
She kept it open. And then they knew that, and Stephanie was causing problems, so we went to her supervisor. Her supervisor wasn't doing anything, so we went to his supervisor, and his supervisor was saying that how Stephanie was in 3 state violations by keeping my case open, and because they did an investigation on her. So they took Stephanie off my case and put her supervisor Jermaine on it.
Okay.
And he came out, did a couple of visits, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to close the case.
Right.
Well, then he started getting calls about allegations. So
Okay.
obviously before he closed the case, he'd have to come out. So he'd come out, talk, check Avery out, talk to Avery. He's like, okay, well, there's nothing wrong,
Okay,
He's
so
like,
this
okay.
is the new caseworker,
Yes.
and his name's Jermaine.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and it was like, every time he'd come out, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to close the case, blah, blah, blah. Well, then he'd get another call about allegations. And obviously he can't close it until he checks out
Investigates the new. Okay.
And that's one thing that they put on the news when they were doing all the news interviews and whatnot, is that they would constantly call children's services and make, about complaints,
Okay.
and they constantly got dismissed. Well, obviously children's services didn't feel that what Charles and I were doing with my daughter was wrong.
Okay.
I had her in counseling because she needed help, because she would pull out her hair. That's why her hair was cut, because we told her she did it the next time, because she'd pull it from the back and she knew the top part would cover it, so we wouldn't see it unless we were giving her a shower or something.
Okay.
So we told her the next time she did it, she was getting her hair cut. And the JFS caseworker knew that's what we had told her, and he said, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Because she would pull out chunks where she would be bald spots.
Why was she doing that? Do you know?
When we would ask her why she did it, she said it was because she was angry. But when we'd ask her why she was angry, she would just say, I don't know. So it was, and then the therapist said it was because she had anxiety problems. Well, they put her on medication, but the medication wasn't working.
What meds did they have her on?
The first one that they tried was clonidine, and I don't know if she had like an allergic reaction to it or what. I actually got a picture I can show you, but she had, something was wrong. And this is what it did. The clonidine was a patch that would go in the middle of her back, and it did that. So I took her off. They gave her a pill.
Like a bright red, almost like a rash.
Yeah, and she would itch at it.
Blotchy.
She would itch at it, take it off. So I'm like, okay, well, obviously this isn't working. So then they gave her a pill, but I'm not quite sure what it was called. It started with a G, I do know that.
Okay.
But I can't remember exactly what it's called. But this is what she would do. So, and no matter what type of treatment we did, with the therapist, ways to handle it, it just wasn't working because she'd get to the point she would just fall out and just start hitting her head, which I took her to the doctor or the hospital last September for it.
Okay.
Because she got to the point where she didn't want to listen, she was pulling out her hair, so we put her in the corner. And she started banging her head on the wall.
Okay.
So
how would she do that?
Well, she was in the corner, so she just started going like this and left bruises on her.
So she basically self-inflicted
bruising.
Okay.
And so we got to the point we never put her in the corner anymore. We'd always have her like in the middle of the room doing something, and if she decided she didn't want to do it because she thought she was the boss, which a lot of the problems came from she would say that Tammy and Jonathan would tell her that she didn't have to listen to Charles and I, she could just do whatever she wanted, and that's how it was. So a lot of times that's why she got in trouble.
Okay.
Because that's not the case.
Well, that sounds like. Is it fair to say that she was probably a handful anyway, and then it was kind of fueled by
that
grandmother?
Yes.
Is that a fair assessment?
Avery wasn't really a handful. She was a sweet child. Everybody loved her. She loved to make people laugh. She pretty much, until it got to the point visits started being more and more current.
Okay.
That's when stuff would just come out.
Let me ask you this: when did you get? When was Avery living with you full time?
April 30th of last year.
Okay, so April 30th of 2015. Were you with Charles then?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys, the three of you guys were living all together at that point? Or?
We didn't start living together. Well, I mean, he'd stay with me at my mom's because at the time I lived with my mom.
Okay.
And that happened for about a month. And then we moved out because my mom was going through a thing with her mortgage company.
Okay.
And, they told her that she didn't have to pay anything, but they were taking her house. And
so she ran into some financial problems.
Yeah, when we moved up here from Kentucky, she had bought the house with a boyfriend, and 2 years into that, they split up.
Okay.
So it was that whole, yeah.
So when did you guys, Charles and Avery, when were you guys living together full time?
July. Actually, we did that for about 2 months. We moved into our house
And that's
we're in now.
1232 Beech. Okay.
We're in now. July 17th of last year.
Okay.
So,
So July of last year, you guys were all together, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like initially everything was going well. Avery was doing fine.
We had our little moments.
Okay.
The first time it happened, I mean, I'd seen her pull her hair out before, but it was just kind of like a few strands. So I really, didn't think anything of it. And then September last year, that's when she pulled it out the most.
Okay.
And, put her in the corner, and she did all that. So I took her to the hospital, and Stephanie, she was still my caseworker at the time.
Okay.
Talked to Avery with another caseworker without me in the room. Talked to her 3 different times, and Avery told her the same thing that she did to herself, but she didn't know why.
Okay.
Stephanie removed out of my care, and that's how I ended up getting her taken off the case, because everything was voluntary. Like, it was, she asked if she could do the investigation and take Avery out
Sure.
of my care for, just a short period of time. So I'm thinking a month at the most. She had her out of my care until December 4th.
Okay.
And that's when, everything was like, okay, this is too much. So I
So-
started calling supervisor.
So
after
Stephanie got involved and actually removed Avery in July.
No, it was September.
September, forgive me. From September, and it went all the way into December. You were under the impression that it was going to be a very short period of time, and you were going to get Avery right back.
That's what Stephanie said.
Okay.
Because she said, although Avery said she did it to herself, they still have to investigate.
So
Which I get. Okay,
yeah.
don't get me wrong. So, and even she placed Avery with a family friend because my mom lives all the way out in Claremont County now.
Okay.
So I could still go see Avery. She put her with a family friend that I grew up with. It was like second mom to me. And she told her the same thing, that, you know, it's only going to be for a couple weeks. Well, then it just, Stephanie started making excuses after
Yeah.
excuses.
No, I hear what you're saying. What did the therapist? Well, let me back up. Did they recommend therapy regarding the hair pulling? Is that what their remedy was, or?
How Avery got started in therapy, she used to go to this place called Young Child Institute.
Okay.
And when she was placed with grandmother and step-grandfather, they were complaining that Avery was hitting her head on the wall, pulling out her hair, so she needed behavioral therapy.
Okay.
So they put her in it, and I'm like, I've never had these problems, you know, but I only had her on the weekend.
Okay.
So, you know, well, then when I started seeing the problems, because I started asking Stephanie about it and what kind of help, and
Right.
she was like, well, let me call Tammy and Jonathan to see if they've ever had this problem. And they were like, no, we've never had this problem, but it's on court record. That's why she got started there, because they were reporting she was hitting her head and pulling her hair out. So I'm just like, so you're just going to let them lie to you, and that's that, and I'm just the bad parent, I guess.
Okay.
So, because everything I did or tried to do to get Avery help, Stephanie made it seem like I was just a bad parent. I didn't know how to handle her. But, I mean, how do you handle a child that pulls out their hair, hits their head on the wall or on the floor, falls out and, you know, bangs their head on the floor because, and they can't tell you why.
Okay.
And, well, come to find out, obviously there's, because one of my neighbors, they came to visit me in the hospital and visit Avery in the hospital. They're foster parents, but they're also ministers. And she was telling me one of the little girls that they brought in for foster care did the same thing. And, again, doctors, social workers didn't believe them. And then one day she finally fell out in the hospital and started doing it. And they ended up having to put her in a psychiatric ward.
Oh, no.
And they said they doped her up so bad that she was like a zombie.
Jeez.
So I'm like, at least I don't feel so bad that somebody else has experienced this, because I thought, like everybody just made me seem like I was a bad parent because.
No, yeah, and I, yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, well, it's a chemical imbalance that was in her brain.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Through all the therapy and through all the help.
I got nothing, but when I was talking to my neighbor, she was telling me about her experience with one of the foster children, and putting her in the psychiatric ward because what she was doing, the doctors told her that it was a chemical imbalance. Okay. And they had to put her on medication. Okay,
so going back to Avery's situation.
And see, not knowing because nobody would help me.
Right.
How would I know how to handle
So
that?
you really didn't, you were.
I was handling it the best I could.
Yeah, and I understand that.
So I mean, when she would fall down, because like I said, we didn't put her in the corner anymore. That was just because she bruised her face. So we'd make her stand in the middle of the room, or like I told you, we'd make her run. Okay. Because the last couple months she just kind of got lazy. If she didn't want to do it, she would tell you she didn't want to do it, and she wasn't going to do it, and she'd throw herself down like a typical kid about to have a tantrum. Right. But most kids fall forward and kick and you know, their hands and whatnot. She would fall back and start hitting her head until, well, I'm not allowed to pick her up. So Charles would pick her up and try and hold her. Okay. And she's still trying to headbutt Charles and squirm and everything else.
And this was all over because she didn't want to do what she was being told to do?
Yeah, because she did something she wasn't supposed to do, so she got in trouble, and she didn't want to go in timeout because apparently when she's over there that she can just do whatever she wants, even if it's wrong, and she doesn't get in trouble for it. So
you
Charles
believe
and I
that
are basically the bad guys.
You believe the behavior that you believe the non-parenting behavior of the grandparents kind of exacerbated, if you will, fueled her bad behavior at home because
basically, when you got a 4-year-old that looks at you and tells you that she does not have to listen to you because you're not the boss, she is, and she can do whatever the hell she wants, and you tell her something and she tells you to f off, and I'm just like, where is this coming from?
Right.
And so we'll sit there, and once we get her calmed down and everything, we'll sit there and ask her why she feels like that, and she goes, well, Mama and Pappy say I can do whatever I want. I don't have to listen to you, and you're not my boss. Only they are, and that whole kind of thing.
At any time, did you ever talk to them, the grandparents, about what was going on?
If I would say something, they were just like, "Oh, she's just a perfect angel." Da da da. I'm just like, okay. Well, you're no help to me at all. So I just kind of kept it to the short, sweet, and didn't say anything more than I had to today.
So what medications, just so I understand, what medications was Avery on? What was prescribed to her?
She was prescribed a anxiety medication.
Do you remember the name of that one?
The first one was the clonidine patch. The second one, it started with a G. I cannot for the life of me think of it right now.
Okay.
But when I get home, I can find the bottle and call you.
Okay.
And then she was prescribed a sleeping medication because she, like I was telling you in the hospital, she wasn't sleeping, but then with the sleeping medication, she wasn't sleeping either, so I just stopped giving it to her. What's the point?
Okay. Do you remember what that medication was?
You're with it.
Okay.
Again, I will let you know as soon
That's
as
okay. No, that's okay. Just some questions, the doctors had. They were just trying to.
Yeah, she was on medication, but she hadn't had the medication in I don't know how long.
Okay.
Maybe
What about the other? That was an anti-anxiety medication.
Yeah.
Were you giving her that med, or
No,
did you stop doing that also?
I stopped doing that as well, just because it seemed like it wasn't.
Okay.
It seemed like her behavior was actually worse when she was on it.
Really?
Yes. So I was like, okay, well, this is kind of having a reverse.
Like an
effect.
adverse or reverse effect. Okay.
So I'm just like, okay, well, what's the point of?
Did you talk to the doctors about that?
Yeah, and they didn't want to try anything else because of her age.
Okay.
Because I originally thought, again, didn't know anything about the chemical imbalance.
Sure.
I originally thought that it was like ADD because I know my sister has it, so it runs on my side of the family, and then her father apparently had like all types of medical issues growing up, or mental issues.
Avery's father?
Yeah, had a bunch of mental issues growing up.
You're talking about Jamie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was on like all types of medications growing up.
Okay.
And one of the things he had was ADD, so I was like, okay, well, talked about this. Therapist didn't want to hear anything about it, so I talked to the pediatrician, because obviously I have to do that little quiz thing or whatever. So I did that, and they called me, and she was like, yeah, she has it, but I don't feel comfortable giving her medication for it.
Okay.
So I was like...
Who was her pediatrician?
Diana Brinker.
Brinker, that's right, Diana Brinker. Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, that doesn't help me any. I'm like, you're not the one that has to deal with a monster child, I guess. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, like I said, Avery.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of outbursts and some things that you were ill-equipped to... Here's my take on it. I mean, I'm listening closely to you. I listen to you and... No, look. I've got kids, and I know kids act out. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're telling me. I certainly understand the frustration level, because sometimes, you're trying to do what you think you should do, and it doesn't sound like you're getting much help from family. It sounds like the system has kind of failed you to a large degree. It sounds like JFS wasn't helpful. It sounds like the pediatrician really wasn't that helpful. They were giving you medications, but when the medications wouldn't help, they really wouldn't help you find some alternative to correct the bad behavior. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and that's all I wanted. My thing is in the beginning, I don't like taking medication. Like, it kills me now just to take my prenatal vitamins. I just don't like medication.
Right.
I don't want my kid to be on medication. So my thing is that's why I stuck with the therapy, because I figured, okay, well, maybe some alternative. But every alternative she gave me.
The therapist?
Yeah.
Like, for example, help me understand, what things did she... Who's your therapist? I'm sorry.
Rachel Manning up at Beech Acres.
Okay, so Rachel was giving you and Avery things to work on?
Yeah, it was like, because like I said, they said it was just anxiety, so it was And they felt that's why she was pulling out her hair. So it was when we seen Avery get anxious, you know, have her kind of jump around, hold my hand and jump around, or rub the table or her legs to help her calm down. But it didn't seem like it worked. And then, you know, she'd want us to, when I put Avery to bed, read to her to help her go to sleep. And that would help with the bond and everything else.
Sure.
I mean, Avery and I had a really good bond, but it was supposed to help with behavior as well, and it didn't.
Okay.
But again, most of her behavior was after visits.
Okay.
Other than that, I didn't have too many issues. And that's where my problem was.
It sounds
how do
like
I deal with that? And I couldn't get.
It sounds like you're attributing a lot of the bad behavior right after they would come home from grandmother.
I mean, and I could just be, you know, that could just be a typical kid. According to my mom, that when I came home from visiting my dad, I acted out for a couple of days too.
Okay.
I don't remember much from my childhood, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, I guess that's just a normal kid thing.
Okay.
But, I mean, with Avery, because she'd get 2 visits back to back basically a week later, so it was like for 2 weeks straight, it was just constant.
Right.
Nothing but her being disrespectful and whatnot, and then she'd go a week without seeing him and she was good. And then when she would go 2 weeks without seeing him, again, didn't have to yell at her.
It leveled out.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was just her being a typical kid, and like I said, the therapist said she had anxiety, which is a mental disorder, so I don't know.
Did you ever determine, could you determine what the triggers were for her anxiety?
In talking with the therapist, it was because, you know, basically what I said, where Avery said she basically could do whatever she wanted.
Okay.
And
so she would challenge you.
Basically, so it was, okay, it's time to eat. She knows I want her to eat, but she doesn't want to, so she's going to control the situation by not eating. Which, I mean, Avery did quite a bit, where she would refuse to eat, so it was, well, you don't get to get up until you eat your food. I could care less if it takes all night.
Okay.
So, and she said it was just, Avery just didn't like what I had to say, so she'd want to sit here and control the situation regardless of what it was. So whether it was herself, refusal to eat, to drink, use the restroom, because Avery got to the point where she would refuse to use the restroom, whether it was to pee or to poop.
Okay.
She said it was just her way of being in charge.
Okay.
Or controlling the situation, basically.
Right.
So.
Now, how did that make you feel?
It made me, I mean, with everything going on, it kind of made me feel like I was a bad parent, just because I tried to do everything I could, to help. I even tried to play games with her, try and get her to eat, try to, if you eat your food, you can have ice cream,
Gotcha.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Like rewards, right?
Any parent would do. You do this, you can have
Try to motivate her with rewards, ice cream, and
it was just like, it didn't work. And even it used to be really bad. Like, I couldn't. Avery would be really good. Most kids love to hear their parents go, "Oh, you did a good job. I'm so proud of you."
Right.
Avery, when she would hear that, it was kind of like a light switch. Like, it was. It was something negative. Even, I'd say, how proud of her I was.
Okay.
I got a negative reaction. Instead of, the normal hug and kiss or whatever.
What would she do?
She would immediately start acting out.
Huh.
Like, it was just like an adverse effect. And I was talking to the therapist about that, and she goes, well, with what you were telling me on how she was raised at their house, she goes, that's completely normal.
Okay, why'd she say that?
In the court trials, Avery, at 2 years old, was still sleeping in a crib in their bedroom instead of in a toddler bed.
Okay.
She would get stuck in a pack and play with just a few toys instead of being able to get up and play and be a kid. She goes, so there was really none of that interaction.
Okay.
I mean, even when they showed pictures in court on why they should have custody, there was
they were just at Avery, but she had this devastated look on her face. There was no adult-child interaction, no child-child interaction, no anything, not even of her playing. They had a sandbox, and she's just sitting there with her feet in the sand and just looked devastated.
Like sad, like that? Or?
Yeah, she just,
okay.
I mean, even her first birthday, most kids are like trying to grab the cake and everything else.
Right.
She was just sad, crying. I'm just like,
okay.
But when I threw her birthday, because I got to do her second birthday, she's like all excited and everything else, and
okay.
I'm just like, I just don't understand. They love this little girl, but they didn't have any pictures of them holding her, playing with her. Where
okay.
when I put pictures in the court, she was with my oldest daughter, she was with my mom, my brother, my sister, me, my grandparents, just everybody.
Right.
She had nothing but smiles on her face.
Right, okay.
So I'm just like...
So when you were when you were giving her,
praises,
Avery, that positive reinforcement, the praising, it had like an adverse effect.
Because I guess she never got it.
So she had... You were working very hard to establish that mother-daughter bond, and it sounds like, for whatever reason, she wanted no part of bonding with you.
Because I guess she never had it. She never had a bond, so
okay.
it was... And I mean, our bond, it got better. I mean, it got to a point eventually that I could say she did a good job, or even before I could say she did a good job, she goes, I did a good job and you're proud of me. And I'm like, yeah, so it got to a point where I was able to do it and I didn't have a problem. And I mean, like I said, she would even come out and blurt it out before I could even say anything.
Right.
And, so, I mean, our bond got, eventually got to that point. I mean, it took, once I switched therapists, within like 2 months, I guess, our bond kind of got right to where it needed to be.
Okay. So you left Beech Acres then?
No,
or?
I left Young Child Institute to go to Beech Acres.
Okay. All right. So you had greater success at Beech Acres.
With Young Child Institute, she had 2 therapists there. One was Margaret, but she left, and Avery did really good with her.
Okay.
And then the therapist she had when I left, Suzanne, it was kind of like she didn't have kids because she would just let Avery just walk all over her.
Okay.
And I would constantly have to get on Avery in these sessions, like, no.
Right.
Miss Suzanne said, we're going to do this, so this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
Said, you don't get to choose. Miss Suzanne didn't ask you what she wanted to do. It'd be different if she asked you, but she didn't ask you.
Okay.
So, and Miss Suzanne, she was just kind of, like I said, she was just kind of more like a pushover. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, this...
Was Avery kind of taking advantage of her personality?
Oh, yeah. So I'm just like, okay, this is... And then with Miss Rachel put her foot down. Avery trying to get into stuff she wouldn't, and she'd look at Avery and she goes, are you supposed to do that? And she goes, no. She goes, okay, because I just told you no, right? She goes, yes. She goes, so when Miss Rachel or Mommy or somebody says no, what are you supposed to say? And Avery would get this look on her face like, oh.
Right. Okay.
And she'd be like, and Miss Rachel would be like, you're supposed to be like, okay. And
all right.
so, I mean, I definitely had a lot more success. So when I started going there within, like I said, the first 2 to 3 months, I was able to get that positive reinforcement without her turning it around and start acting out. And I got the bond where, where it should be with a mother and a child at that point in time.
So you were starting to move in the right direction, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that you've had your plate full with Avery and a lot of these issues. There's no doubt about it. The custody part of it, it sounds like you guys have been working through a lot of things regarding her behavior, therapy, medications, etc. So yeah, that's really involved, no doubt.
And that's one thing I can say about Charles, because most guys, it's not their kid, so most guys wouldn't stick around. They're like, this is too much for me.
Right.
I've seen it before.
Okay.
I mean, not just with me, just other people. Like Charles, he stuck through. I mean, even Jermaine, he had nothing but nice things to say about how he felt the way Charles did stuff with Avery,
right.
whether it was discipline or just...
Jermaine was the latest or the newest
yes.
caseworker. Okay.
No matter, Avery's discipline or how he just handled Avery altogether, that he felt it was good for her. Because he could see that sometimes, I guess, my voice isn't stern enough. So when I go to say something to Avery, it's easy for her to, like, yeah, whatever. And for Charles, he just looked at Avery and just say her name, and it's just like immediately like, okay.
He's got more of a command presence, right?
So like, he was happy I was with Charles, and Charles didn't walk away or, get up and just be like, I'm done with this.
Right.
So, he felt Charles helped out a lot with Avery, and Avery adored Charles. I mean, she got to the point she would even try to go to the bathroom with him, and it was like, Avery, you can't do that. And of course she didn't understand. She was like, but why? I'm like, because he's a boy, and he's got certain things that we don't have. So you don't see boys and boys don't see girls.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, working on the car, she'd be right there. I care less about working on the car, so I'd just sit on the porch and watch, like, okay, whatever. You go have fun. Every Saturday, because I was in school, they'd go fishing and have their basically father-daughter time, because she'd call me daddy a few times, but we corrected her and told her no, but, every once in a while it was still she was basically daddy's little girl.
Right.
That's what they wanted to do. Even for his birthday back in April, he asked her what she wanted to do, and she goes, fishing. That was their thing. So
she enjoyed,
we went fishing, and I sat back and I took quite a few pictures of him helping her fish, and
right. Where'd you guys go?
We went down. At that time, we went down on Kellogg.
Okay.
There's that little playground and then the river down there.
Okay, so you guys would just go down on the river and fish.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we always thought of it, Avery just being nosy, because she would just sit there and stare. She wouldn't say anything. Like most kids, they look at you and then like, oh, well, I want this or I want that. She would just sit there and just stare and just kind of watch, and we always just thought she was being nosy. So we used to always get on her, but thinking about it, with especially how attached she was to Charles, that she just, everywhere Charles went, she had to know where he was. Like, she didn't like when he went to work, because if I said something she didn't like, she was like, I want you to call Charles. Okay. And I'm just like, I'm not bothering Charles at work.
Right.
And she would get so mad. With her and I, her favorite thing to do with me was puzzles. She absolutely loved puzzles. So we'd sit there, and she's got like a million puzzles. We'd sit there and just work on the puzzles, play Barbie dolls. But her and Charles's thing is fishing. Sometimes she'd want me to go, sometimes she wouldn't. I'm like, all right.
Gotcha.
You just do what you gotta do. As long as you're having fun, I don't care. That's okay. Mommy will have her time, and you and Charles can have your time, and then, later you and Mommy can go do our thing, and Charles can have his time. And that's just how it was. And like I said, she was the happiest child, and that's what kills me about everything that they're putting on Facebook and whatnot, is how she was just so unhappy and abused. But I've got nothing but pictures of her being happy. Yeah, I've got a few pictures where she's got bruises, but she came back to me with bruises on her. So obviously I took pictures to make sure I had documentation. But yeah, I'm just like, she was so unhappy, but I've got nothing but pictures of her smiling. And you want to sit here and say that you cared about her, but you didn't even have pictures of your own to do your vigil and all that type of stuff you had to take home from me. So obviously you didn't care about her that much. Right. Otherwise you would have had pictures.
Well, let's go back to, I know you and I, we talked about, I think it was July 29th, it was that Friday, that you and I kind of met up. Remember, it was Friday night into Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You and I technically met up late or early Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm. Trying to remember everything.
Yeah, no, I know. Let's talk about that day. So you told me that you started your day by waking up at like 4:30 a.m.
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of how we started it. Can you walk me through?
On a typical, that Friday, it was like any other day. Got up, got ready for work. gave Charles a kiss before I left.
Okay.
Because he gets home at 1 o'clock in the morning, but he stays downstairs to eat dinner and whatnot. So he wasn't truly asleep.
So you and Charles, you guys share like the master bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
So you get up at 4:30. Charles works late, so he's still sleeping. Okay.
So
where does Avery sleep?
She sleeps in her bedroom.
Okay.
And we've got a baby monitor in there because of the hair pulling and whatnot. And I always check on her because before Charles got his schedule, I used to have to take her to a daycare. But because of the schedule, there was no point in paying for daycare when she could just stay at home.
Sure. Right.
Because eventually she wasn't going to go to daycare anyway because she was going to start school. So.
Right. Okay.
So I would just check on the monitor to see, what she's doing. I never went in there.
So you looked at the monitor and what did you see?
She wasn't really moving around. I mean, her foot was moving, so I don't know if she was up or not. I know when I sleep, my feet move.
Okay.
So.
What was your impression? I mean, did you think she was asleep?
No, I thought she was awake.
Okay.
But again, I don't go in
But she
there.
was lying down.
Yeah, she was lying down and just sort of foot moving. But
Okay.
sometimes I used to go in there after I stopped taking her to daycare. But a few of the times I woke her up, so I was just like, okay, well, I'll just stop going in there. And
Right.
So I looked at the monitor, seen her moving, gave Charles a kiss, went downstairs, got my lunch, and then my shoes on. Out the door I went.
What time did you leave the house?
I leave the house at 4:30. I get up at 4:15.
Okay. What time do you have to be at work?
5 o'clock.
Okay. And you work at Home Depot?
Yes.
The one on Glenway Avenue? Man, I didn't even know they were open that early.
They're not. They don't open till 6. I just get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it sucks.
Okay.
But the schedules work.
So you wake up at 4:15. Charles is asleep. You give Charles a kiss. You look at the monitor. She's stirring. You're not sure if she's really awake or asleep, but she's lying down.
Right.
Okay.
And, I get the rest of my stuff. I leave. I always text Charles when I get to work, even though I know I'm not going to get a text message from him right away. But I always let him know that I'm at work. And I just do my normal thing at work.
Okay.
On a normal day, he would text me when he'd wake up.
Okay.
Which would be about 9:30ish. Anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock, we'll say. And then I would talk to him on my lunch, which is at 11. And then I wouldn't talk to him again until I got home from work, unless he wanted to tell me something about Avery, just so I knew when I got home. Because a lot of times, if she got in trouble right before he left, he would call me to be like, hey, by the way, when you get home, Avery's in timeout, blah, blah, whatever.
Okay.
And to kind of
Well, what about that? What about that Friday? Was there anything significant about that day, or?
That Friday, I knew he was supposed to be looking at somebody's car, so he didn't call me on lunch like normal.
Okay.
And then he called me right before I was due to leave work, which I leave work at 1:30.
Okay.
And was telling me that, Avery got in trouble, so he sent her up to her room or something like that. I just know she was in her room. I can't truly remember what happened. But she was up in her room, and he was looking at the monitor, and he caught her playing with herself.
Okay.
And, then he seen her take her hand and rub it on her face and put her fingers in her mouth. And so, he brought her downstairs and was talking to me on the phone. And at that time, I didn't know it was on speaker. I didn't even know she was downstairs. And I was like, okay, well, obviously that's nasty. I said, but they say, that's normal for kids that age to explore and,
Okay.
I said, now, the rubbing on the face and putting in her fingers in her mouth, I said, that I don't know about. I said, but I do know that doctors say that kids will explore their bodies by touching and playing. I said, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. And then the phone conversation ended then, or?
Well, then he goes, well, Avery, did you hear what your mommy had to say? And she goes, yeah. He goes, what did your mommy have to say? say. And she goes, that's nasty. I said, oh, I didn't know. I was on the speaker.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, baby, we don't do that. That is nasty. I said, you don't see mommy doing that or Charles doing that, do you? And she goes, no. I said, okay then. I said, that's not something we do. Well, then I guess, I got off the phone, told him I'd see him when I got home, blah, blah, that whole thing. I guess, he talked to her about it, because I know certain things he doesn't like to talk to her about because it makes him uncomfortable. Like, he can't even give her a shower. Even if I ask him and I'm there to give her a shower, he's just like, okay, Avery, get undressed, I'll turn the water on, you do what you gotta do. And I'm like, she cannot wash herself correctly.
Okay.
So I have to go in and re-give her a shower after she's like done. I'm like, whatever, just give me her clothes. Give me something.
Okay.
So I guess, so I'm willing to assume because he couldn't give her a shower that
Okay,
the
so yeah.
conversation made him uncomfortable because he's seen it,
So the phone conversation ended with you, right?
Yeah.
And then at some point, you go home?
Within like 5 minutes of getting on the phone, I was going home.
Okay. So what time did you make it back to your residence?
1:45.
All right.
I got in and, excuse me, she was standing up, and I had my, because the way Charles parked his car, I was blocking my neighbor's driveway, so I needed to wait till he left so I could pull my car up some. And he's like, well, she's in timeout, you know how she can be. I was like, well, she's going to stand near the doorway so I can see her. And so I just moved her into the doorway, left the door open, and just kind of pulled my car up because it's not like I went far. So I could see her. And we went in, and I was like, okay, well, we're done, and, try to...
So when you get home, Charles is there, Avery's there, she's in timeout. What does that consist of?
When I got there, she was just standing there in the middle of the room.
Like your living room?
Yes.
Like, is she, I don't know, standing in the corner, or is she just standing in the center of the room?
She's just standing.
Okay.
So then I moved her so I could move my car down because Avery can be, when she's in timeout, if you don't watch her, she'll sit here and try and do 10 million things before you walk back into that room.
Okay. So your timeout is, just so I understand this, your timeout is you place her, she stands in the center of the living room area. Okay.
So I moved her to the doorway, and because I hadn't walked in the house yet, Charles was walking out, so I just moved her to the doorway so I could see her.
Okay.
Pulled my car up, out from in front of my neighbor's driveway. Say goodbye to Charles, hugs, kiss, that good fun stuff. Went in, I was like, okay, well, school's getting ready to start, so how about we start working on, stuff you know how to do. And
so let me slow you up. So you get home at roughly 1:45, and then Charles, he's leaving.
Yeah, because he's actually supposed to start work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
But because I don't get home, I don't get off till 1:30. His boss told him it's okay, just as soon as you get there, just clock in.
Clock in, okay. Where does he work at?
He works at FedEx down in Mount Zion.
In Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that the one near the airport? You're not sure? Okay. That's okay. All right. So you get home, Charles is leaving. Do you guys have a chance to communicate with each other about why she's in timeout?
Well, I knew he told me she was in timeout because he was explaining to her why you don't do that. I guess she got mouthy. I think he said something about how she got mouthy with him or something, so he just put her in timeout.
And that's stemming from what he called you about?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I got you.
Because, he talked to her about it, and he said it was, like, the most uncomfortable thing ever. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't know how to handle that either because I've never had to do that.
So you get home, it's 1:45, she's standing in the center of the living room area, and then you decide to start working with her on her schoolwork because she's getting ready to go to, is it preschool, or is she going to go to kindergarten? Okay.
She was supposed to start kindergarten, actually August 17th.
Okay.
So, I pulled out paper and, I was like, okay, well, spell your name for me. So she spelled her name and I was like, okay. And then I wrote it down. I was like, okay, well, write your name this many times. I think it was like 10 times. not 100% sure, but I think it was like 10 times. So she wrote it, and about halfway through, she just kind of, I guess she kind of like got to the point where she didn't want to do it, so she kind of was like playing stupid.
Okay. Now, where were you guys at doing this?
In the living room.
Is there a table or a desk?
Yeah, because our kitchen, how it's kind of small, so we really don't have a kitchen table in there. So Charles and I eat on the couch, and then
Okay.
she has like a little table that she eats on. So we were over at her little table, and like I said, like halfway through it, she was taking like, she would spell her name, but she would forget a letter. And then she would do her last name and would add a letter that wasn't in there. So I'm like, no. I said, see how it's spelled up here? I said, that's how you have to do it. And then it got to the point where she would like take the first 3 letters of her first name and like the first 3 letters of her last name and just start. I'm like, no. So once we got through with all that, I was like, okay, let's take a break. Because she was starting to shake and kind of like she was getting frustrated. I'm like, okay, let's just.
How long did you guys work on that?
With the breaks and everything, I'm gonna say maybe 2 hours, because about 4:15, she decided she wanted to go upstairs and lay down.
Okay.
So, because I constantly just had to keep taking breaks. So, and then it was, we're gonna work on numbers. And Avery can count all the way up to 50. But she can only write her numbers 1 through 10.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, we're gonna write 1 through 10, and she did 1 correctly, and then she wrote 2 a couple times correctly, and then it just kind of got like scribbles. So I was like, no, you were doing it fine. I said, but you did it fine, so we're done. So let's move on to 3. She did 3 without a problem, and then 4. She was struggling a little bit, so I got behind her, and, I took her hand, and, I wrote it a couple times with her hand. I was like, now can you do that? And she did it a couple times. I was like, all right. So let's move on to 5. Well, 5, it was the same way. But even after I took her hand and wrote it, she was still, so I was like, okay, well, we're done. Let's take a break. And so we took a break. And then we came back and we did flashcards.
Okay.
We did the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase. And then I think we started on the numbers when she started like messing them up. And I was like, okay, let's take a break. And she's like, can I just go lay down? I'm like, sure, whatever.
Okay.
So I kept her up there until dinner was done. And that was like 6:30. And all I did was just make eggs and hash browns.
So you had gotten home at 1:45. Everything seemed okay. I mean, I know she was in timeout. So you worked roughly from, I don't know, I'll just say 2 o'clock until going on with 6?
Well, 4.
4?
4 with her on the school stuff.
Okay.
And then I put her upstairs because she has to lay down.
Okay.
Which really isn't normal for her, honestly. She never wants to lay down, and like she never, even she can say she's tired, but she still doesn't want to like lay down and rest. So that was a little odd for me. But I was just like, okay, just whatever.
Frustrated, maybe tired from the concentrating, the schoolwork.
So I'm just like, okay, well, we'll go upstairs, and I put her in the bed,
and then you made dinner.
I sat downstairs, watched TV for a little bit, made dinner.
What time is it now? Dinner time?
Dinner got done between 6 and 6:30.
Okay.
Like I said, it was just eggs and hash browns, so it was quick and easy. And usually.
Now, did she eat with you, or?
Yeah, she ate, but
She came downstairs then?
I went upstairs and I got her. Usually it takes her, she loves eggs and hash browns, so it usually only takes her like 20 minutes to eat. But Friday night it took her from 6:30 till about 7:15, 7:30 to eat.
Okay.
Which, like I said, normally isn't like her, especially with eggs.
Is she a good eater?
Typically, yes.
Okay. Was there something unique about Friday night, or?
Well, within the past week, 2 weeks before her incident, we had been having problems getting her to eat. We'd give her food, and she may take a couple bites out of it, but she's just like, I don't want to eat. So, it's obviously we're not going to sit there and make her eat. She ate a few bites, so get up and whatever.
Okay.
Because, when I got home, even when I made dinner, put her dinner on the table, her breakfast was still on the table in the bowl.
What was that?
Just shredded wheat cereal.
Shredded wheat. Okay.
So, Charles was like, yeah, she ate like 4 pieces, I was like, we had to go out and, helping that guy, whatnot. Neighbor went to go out there, and he goes, so she ate 4 pieces, and I just said, whatever.
So she didn't eat that much Friday?
No.
Okay.
And, like I said, we had been having trouble getting her to eat, so during the day, it's just, okay, you eat, great, if not, whatever. Dinner time, she gets made to sit there and eat until it's done.
So you made eggs and hash browns. She normally really likes eggs and hash browns?
Yeah, usually, she wants ketchup on her eggs and hash browns.
Okay.
And, she didn't even ask for that, so again, it's kind of out of the norm, but I just figured, it's one of those things where I just don't want to eat, so I'm not going to.
So she gave me a little attitude.
Yeah, so I'm like, and she was trying to say, she took like 3 bites, and she was like, I'm done. I'm like, no, you're going to eat. So
is that the control part of what you were telling me about, like the therapist was saying that's how she can control a situation? What was your, I guess I'm asking, what was your take on that night?
That, typically she does it when she gets in trouble.
Okay.
And she wasn't in trouble, you know what I mean? She was earlier in the day. But
do you think that was some spillover from her in the schoolwork? Think she was upset from that, or?
I guess it could be. I didn't think about that.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I didn't think about it, but I guess it could be because I pushed her to the point like she got frustrated, and then we had to take a break. So I guess it could be, but I really didn't think about it.
I'll be honest with you. I've got 2 daughters and 2 sons, and that you're definitely working with her academically, and it sounds pretty intense for a 4-year-old.
Oh, this little girl is smart.
Okay.
She knows, like I said, she can count up to 50. She knows alphabets, upper and lowercase. She knows how to spell her name. She knows shapes, colors. So she's proven all this to you guys before this Friday. So what was your take on Friday? Was she just being lazy? Was she I think
trying to control the situation?
Honestly, I think it might have been a little of both, because we kind of slacked off on working on it because it was something we kind of did every day.
Okay.
And then we kind of just slacked off on it. And then it was just like all at once, I guess. I was just like, we're going to do this.
Okay. Caught her off guard a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. So, I guess it could have been, her being lazy with the schoolwork. And then it was like, oh, well, you're making me do this, so now I'm not going to eat. And she knows that at least with dinner time, especially since she's not been eating that good, that she has no choice but to sit there and eat. And I don't care how long it's going to take.
Okay.
That's just how it is, and you're going to deal with it. So,
does she recognize that pushes your buttons a little bit? Is that?
I think she does. Because she can get to a point, like, if she gets in trouble, she'll get to a point and she'll look at me and Charles and, I hate you, I don't love you, I'm doing this stuff on purpose to get taken away, and blah, 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 all kinds of stuff. So which it kills me out of a 4-year-old, because usually you don't hear that until they're teenagers.
That's fair.
So,
that's fair.
She definitely knew how to push buttons.
Okay.
But that's one thing I was, with the therapist because the therapist not only helped Avery, she kind of just, helped me on how to deal with it. And it was just basically, okay, well, that's okay that you feel that way. You're mad right now, and that's fine, but.
So Friday, she doesn't want to eat. You're asking her to eat. You guys started dinner
about 6:30.
6:30ish.
which is normal.
At some point, do you relent, or does she finish her meal, or do you give up on her, or what?
No, she finished it.
Okay.
Like I said, it took her an hour.
So now it's 7:30ish. Okay.
And because I have to get up and go to school in the morning, plus being up at 4:15 in the morning.
You got to be exhausted. Jeez.
So it's okay. Let's go upstairs. It's bedtime. You know, go potty before you go to bed.
Okay. So that's the I call it like the pre-bedtime. I mean, you guys have a little ritual of
it's
brushing teeth and washing behind the ears and putting PJs on and all that. So help me understand what happened that night.
Friday, we went upstairs, told her to go to the bathroom before.
Okay.
Because if I don't tell her, she won't go, and then that'll be her excuse on why she peed on herself, is because I didn't go before I went to bed.
Okay.
So I make her go. I didn't make her brush her teeth.
Okay.
I didn't make her brush her teeth. She had, when she went to bed, she had on a t-shirt and underwear.
Okay. Is that typically what she wears?
Usually, a lot of times I'll just let her sleep in like her panties, just because I haven't went out and bought summer jammies.
Okay. Is it hot inside the residence or what?
Typically yes, but Friday it was raining. So
Okay.
when it rains, it kind of gets cool. So that, and she's got the ceiling fan, and then she's got a little box fan in her room.
Okay.
So typically it's not too bad.
So Friday was comfortable?
It was comfortable, because usually if it's not comfortable, I make her sleep with pants on.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Friday that was a heck of a rainstorm.
Yeah, I was freezing.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, okay, t-shirt and panties, that's fine, whatever. And I laid her down.
Okay.
I don't know who that is. So I laid her down.
Now, does she have her own bed or?
Yes, there's 2 beds in there.
Okay.
One for her, one for my oldest daughter. But she wasn't sleeping on her bed because she came back from a visit with one of the grandparents.
Okay.
And she had bed bugs. So
Your daughter had bed bugs?
yeah, it was all over her bed. So her bed was stripped down, and so I still had her old toddler bed.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't put together, but I had the mattress. So I just laid the mattress on the floor in between the 2 beds.
Okay. Okay.
Later on that, gave her hugs, kisses, told her I loved her, I would see her later. I never would say I'd see her in the morning because I would never see her in the morning.
Right. And everything was fine when you laid her down?
Everything was fine.
Okay.
I went downstairs to go get me some milk so I could take my prenatal vitamin. Went to the restroom, got myself ready for bed. Turned on my TV, and
So now you're back in your bedroom, like the master bedroom?
yeah.
So you're watching TV? Okay.
And I think I dozed off.
Do you remember about what time you laid her in bed and then?
I'm gonna say it was probably 7:45, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And then
Is that early for you guys or? No, because you're exhausted. You've got
We
to
usually
get up so early.
We usually go to bed anywhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So it wasn't anything unusual.
Okay.
Um,
So it was right around 8 o'clock.
And then after I got done getting myself together and whatnot, it was probably 8:15 before I climbed in my bed.
Okay. And she's and again, you're doing a good job. I just want to make sure I understand everything. Okay.
That's fine.
So she is on her little toddler bed mattress on the floor because the bed has bed bugs. She is dressed in a t-shirt and her underwear. What color was the t-shirt? Do you remember?
I think it was yellow.
Okay. And it was just like little girl panties that she wore?
Yes.
Okay. Does she sleep with a pillow or blankets?
She never really slept with a pillow.
Okay.
Every time when she was on her bed, the pillow was always on the floor or at the foot of the bed. So
she would kick it off or bump it off somehow?
yeah, so I didn't give her a pillow, but I did give her a sheet.
Okay.
So she had a sheet, and like I said, I guess I dozed off, and because the next thing I remember is I heard a thud or a thump or something, a noise that came through the monitor.
Okay.
It woke me up, and I was facing, because the monitor would be on this side, I was facing this side, and I rolled over and kind of jerked, and I remember trying to catch a vision, you know.
Yeah, you were asleep, and then now you're awake, and you're trying to kind of collect yourself.
So, yeah, I guess I dozed off and didn't realize it. And then usually, because of how our upstairs is set up, this is where...
I actually brought
paper.
Yeah, no. Remember when you gave us permission to go into your house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the diagrams that we do when we do these kinds of investigations.
Yeah, this is the nursery, see, and this is our bedroom.
Okay.
We can go around, because that's our bath. We can go around into her room.
Okay.
Or we could go across. So typically, and this is where the nightstand is that has the monitor.
Gotcha.
I sleep on this side, so I would just yell in there because she can hear.
Sure, it's audio and video, right? Both ways?
No.
No?
Just one, but with the doors and how close it is, all I gotta do is just turn my voice up a little bit. It's just to yell and for her to be quiet and go to sleep and sit still. But for whatever reason, that night, something just told me to get up and go in there.
Okay.
And I went in there, and before I could say anything, she's like, I'm hot and I'm thirsty. And her body felt normal temperature, but her face was just really hot.
Okay.
And then, but the room was cool. So I was like, okay, let's go take your temperature. And by the time we came back into here, because this is where everything is, this light was on so I could see to go through. I noticed her face was just like really red.
Okay.
So that's when I put her in the shower, in the bathtub, and I sat her down, and
You talking about?
Right here. Yeah.
Okay.
I walked her from here. Well, she walked with me from here. She climbed in the bathtub.
Okay.
And I told her to sit down, so she said okay. And I turned on the water cold, took my nozzle off the hook, and was spraying her, and I changed the thing so she could take a drink, and I changed it back and sprayed her, and then next thing I know, because I'm over the bathtub like this, like you would if you're giving your kid a bath.
Yeah.
And my arm is just kind of like limp over here, and I'm just,
Okay.
And she just kind of falls back on me. So I threw the shower thing, turned it off, and I went to adjust my hand so I could have a better grip of her, and I put my hand on her chest. And as I was laying her down, her heart was really fast, and by the time she was down, it had stopped.
Okay. So as you were spraying her, she kind of fell limp, and then you went to check her heart, and her heart was racing, and then it
was gone.
And then it stopped beating.
Yeah, and I laid her down completely. I tried to call 911 from the bathroom, but with my house, service is kind of
Okay.
But you would figure, even though I didn't have much service, it's emergency call, that it would have went through, and it didn't.
Okay. So you're like in a bad spot for your phone.
Yes.
Okay.
It is horrible.
Okay.
So I tried, I think it was like 3 times, and then I finally went downstairs and out onto my sidewalk outside, and it went through, and when I got the lady on there...
You called 911.
I got the lady on there, and I was telling her what happened. She's trying to calm me down so she can understand. She's like, well, I need you to go lay her flat, and she goes, I'm going to talk you through CPR. So I grabbed her out the bathtub, and I laid her on the bathroom.
So you stayed on the line.
Yeah.
And you were able to keep your signal. Okay.
Right.
So you returned back to the bathroom.
I laid her on the floor, like kind of in the doorway right here.
Okay.
And she told me to put my one hand up under her neck and the one on her forehead to straighten it, open her mouth, breathe in. I know when I was trying to open her mouth,
Okay.
it was kind of like it was clenched shut.
Okay.
But she told me to breathe in her mouth 2 times a minute each time, and then do 30 chest compressions, and she wanted me to do the chest compressions, or count the chest compressions out loud.
Right.
And I did it. I was going on my 3rd round to do the chest compressions when the paramedics came upstairs, They picked Avery up off the floor, set her on my bed, and then they picked her back up and walked downstairs, and where the ambulance was parked, it was kind of like halfway up the street.
Okay.
So they had to walk halfway up the street to put her in there.
Okay.
And then after that,
Okay.
they wouldn't let me in the ambulance, so I don't know how
They were
long.
probably working on her.
Yeah. I
So
don't know how long.
you administered CPR. You gave almost 3 rounds of 2 breaths followed by 30 chest compressions.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire department, they show up. They assume control. They remove her from the bathroom floor, place her on her bed.
No, on my bed. They
Okay,
came through
in the
this
master.
door.
Okay.
They placed her on this bed, but they didn't do anything.
Gotcha.
They set her down for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and
Okay.
then picked her back up.
And then they took her to the ambulance.
Yes.
Okay.
I
And
don't
then-
know why they set her down. I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they just set her down and then picked her back up.
So that day, did Avery, did she present like any symptoms of being sick or not feeling well? I mean, for example, did she have a fever?
I didn't check her. The first time I checked her was when she said she was hot.
Okay, but that was, I'm talking about like
During the day?
Yeah, during the day. Did she present any symptoms? Did she have a runny nose?
No.
Did she have a cough?
No.
I mean, was she lethargic or was she doing okay
She was.
during the day?
She was okay.
Okay.
She typically when we worked on schoolwork, she liked it.
I'm trying to, yeah, but
have too many problems with her.
I guess what I'm trying to better
But
understand.
Normally, she kind of acted like herself, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, she
Well,
wasn't-
and that's what I'm trying to understand, because when you put her down for bed that night,
she felt fine.
she was okay.
Yeah, she felt.
Okay. Did she have any? Did she have any falls, or did she have any traumas? Did she hit her head or anything like that during the day?
Not when she was with me.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, she didn't have any with Charles. I think the last time she decided to throw a tantrum, actually this happened 2 weeks ago within a couple of days of each other, which
No, but I'm talking about like that Friday.
No, the last time.
Charles did not report. Excuse me. Charles did not report anything to you other than when she was,
Yeah.
we'll say, exploring.
Yeah.
That was the only significant event that day.
Yes, he didn't say anything about hitting her head.
Okay.
Yeah, the last time she hit her head was, I think, maybe a week prior when she got in trouble and she fell out and hit her head on the floor.
And that was a
And-
week prior to.
Yeah.
What were the circumstances surrounding that fall?
She got in timeout and she was being made to run, and
Okay.
she got to the point where she didn't want to do it, so she dropped down and threw herself back. And then I know, well, I was at the store, which I forgot about until just now.
That's okay.
It was just me and her at the store, which I didn't do too much grocery shopping, so I was literally just getting minor
So
things.
this fit happened at the grocery store?
No, but I did end up hitting her in the head and knocking her down because she kind of like went out of sight, and I had a basket, and I kind of turned around.
Okay.
And
Are you talking about like one of the plastic, the grocery?
yeah, and I cracked
Okay.
her, and she fell,
Yeah.
which kind of made me feel like super crap because I was like, oh my god, first
Well,
of
that
all,
was-
I couldn't find my child.
Yeah,
you know?
that was an accident. You're just turning.
Yeah.
Okay.
But those were, like I said, those were like a week before all that happened.
Okay. So
Other than that,
she had a clean bill of health that day. There was no falls. There was no significant injuries.
No, I don't think she said anything to Charles about not feeling good.
Okay.
But like I said, I know when I went in there to go tell her to lay down and stop moving, that's when she said she was hot. And like I said, everything felt fine except her face, and it was just really warm.
Okay.
So
I mean, what is your thought on What happened to her?
I've been playing that night over and over, and I honestly, I don't know. I mean, because that thump or thud or whatever it was I heard, that's the biggest mystery to me at all, because I don't know if maybe she decided, oh, well, I don't want to go to bed right now, and hit her head, or because Tyler mattresses aren't that thick, so it's easy enough to bounce your head back and still hit the ground.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's what I heard. I don't know if I heard her stomping her feet on the floor since she was close enough to the floor that she could have.
Do you think, excuse me, do you think that this was a result of like an illness or a disease, or do you think her death was the result of an injury?
She was, as far as I was aware, she was healthy, so I want to say it was just more of an illness that I didn't know about.
Okay. Do you think it was like a flu bug that raised her temperature up real high and stopped her heart, or?
I'm not too sure on medical.
Okay.
So I don't.
Did the doctors at Children's, did they talk to you about
Anything?
her injuries or her illness, or did she have a disease, or?
All they told me at the hospital, because I was concerned that, because she was saying she was thirsty, and I gave her something to drink, and then like right after I started spraying her again, she kind of just went limp after she drank some water. That my concern was, because I thought I heard water on her lungs when I was doing the CPR.
Okay.
I asked if there was water, and they said there was no water on her lungs.
Yeah, she definitely didn't drown.
They did say that there was abrasions on her lungs, but they told me that it was from doing the chest compressions.
The chest compressions.
Since her heart had stopped a total of 4 times on Friday.
Okay.
But that's all I know.
So they didn't give you a whole lot of information?
No.
That sound like it. Okay.
So, I mean, I had questions, you know, because I was asking them about her jaw locking up, what could have caused that. And apparently, according to my sister, which I didn't know, because my family is a little, I don't want to say screwed up, but in a way it kind of is. I have a legal dad, and then I have a biological dad.
Okay. Yeah.
So my sister on my biological dad's side was telling me that seizures runs in the family, and she was telling me, or when I was telling her about the jaw and how it's kind of locked up,
Okay.
she goes, do they think she has a seizure? I said, I don't know. I said, I'd ask, and...
Do you remember talking to like a social worker at Children's? Do you remember talking to anybody in particular? Or?
I don't remember names. I talked to...
What about a doctor?
I talked to one doctor.
You remember that person's name?
No, I remember he had an accent.
Okay.
He was white, and he had an accent.
Okay.
I don't remember so many people. And
Yeah, no, I know. Crazy. Stressful.
mainly, what he talked to me about was just her heart, you know, trying to keep it going, and the medications and everything. And he was the one that told me about the abrasions.
Okay. And he attributed that to CPR?
Mhm.
Okay.
So.
And it was just the two of you guys at home that night?
Charles was at work.
Okay.
So it was just me and Avery. We had, up until I got woke up, everything was pretty normal. Other than the fact, instead of her playing, we were working on schoolwork.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, as far as her health, she had a clean bill of health. Nothing was going on with her.
No.
As far as her falling down, her suffering some kind of a trauma.
No, she.
It doesn't sound like she exhibited any symptoms of an illness other than when she woke up and you went in there.
Yeah.
Did you actually touch her head?
Yeah, I touched her.
Did she feel warm to the touch to you?
Yeah.
Is that the reason you put her into the shower
Well,
then?
I was originally just going to take her temperature, and when I seen her face, that's what made me concerned. Because,
Okay.
I mean, I felt her hot before, but her face was just never so red. So that's kind of what concerned me. I know, actually, she did complain a couple days prior that she wasn't feeling good.
Okay.
But she was still acting normal, where most kids, when they don't feel good, they just kind of, they're sluggish and they don't.
Yeah, I get it.
She said she didn't feel good, but she felt normal, she was acting normal, so I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
But
okay. Well, here's what I've, and this is going to be something that I want you to understand. Okay. Here's what I've learned since we spoke last. Okay. So the medical doctors, they are telling me she suffered what they call subdural hematoma. Have you ever heard that phrase? Or
I know what hematoma means. That it has to refer to blood. I do know that, but subdural,
right.
I don't.
Well, here's what they're telling me. Okay, they are explaining to me that she suffered a significant blunt force trauma to her head. Okay, she was struck, she was slammed. That created all of that bleeding, which put an enormous amount of pressure on her brain. Okay, that's the cause of why she got sick. That's the cause of why she died. Okay, it's not the result of an illness. It's not the result of a disease, any pre-existing anything. Okay, it's not even the result of her accidentally bumping her head. Okay. One of the things that I noticed, let's see here, when I went in after I spoke to you, I had the occasion to go in and see your daughter Avery. And one of the things that I noticed, there was significant bruising right up her spinal column. You can see those red marks essentially right above each vertebrae. I mean, you can count them. They're so obvious. They're so apparent. Okay. And then I also noticed a lot of bruising in and around her bottom and up and down the backs of her legs. Are you aware of those bruises and how that happened? Or
I know every time she gets spanked on her butt, she gets a bruise, and I had spanked her butt that Monday.
Okay. Well, you told me initially that you and Charles didn't use corporal punishment. You didn't spank her.
No, that Monday.
So how did you spank her?
I had to give her a shower first because she pooped on herself, and that's when she pulled her hair out. That's why her hair was cut. Because she yanked out hair and actually shoved it down in her butt in the poop.
Okay.
So I gave her a shower and cleaned her up, and I did spank her butt on that Monday.
Okay, there's a lot of bruises there. You can see that for yourself. In and around her bottom, backs of her legs. How did you spank her? With your hand?
Yeah,
or?
I spanked her with my hand, but I
Was
swatted
it an
her.
open hand or?
Yes.
Okay.
Twice. I never spank her more than twice if I spank her, which isn't all that often. And the stairs are the backs of her legs. I don't know what that's from.
Okay. What about her back?
Again, I don't know about her back.
Okay.
Because that's the first time I'm seeing those bruises. Because when I gave her a shower, those weren't there.
So those weren't there that night, Friday night, when you
No, I didn't
cleaned her up, or?
No, I hadn't seen them Friday.
Okay. Do you recognize
You recognize these clothing articles?
Yeah, that's from her room. And I'm not quite sure what that is.
Okay. So the pink top and the blue jeans, they belong to Avery?
Yeah.
You recognize this?
Yeah, that's what we whoop my dog with when she poops in the house. And that's duct tape.
Okay. You recognize that photo there?
It looks like a lot of duct tape.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's got her hair on it, which we did have her use tape to get her hair up off her floor.
Okay. You see anything else on that adhesive part of the duct tape? It's her hair, and what else?
It looks like some discoloration.
Okay. Well, they're the pink little fibers from her pink shirt. Okay. Here's the thing. Okay. I want you to hear me. Don't say anything. I want you to listen to me for a second. Okay, I'm on your side. All right, but this is what I know. The injury your daughter sustained, okay, it wasn't an accidental injury. It wasn't the result of an illness or a disease. You were the only person in that house with your daughter when she fell ill, okay? If there was a situation that got out of hand, for example, all right, that you need to talk to me about, I want to address it right here, right now, okay? We need to get to the bottom of it. Work as a team together, okay? Because from where I sit, and I'm looking at what I know I have, and then I'm listening to what you're telling me, it's clear to me that you're not telling me the truth about what occurred, okay? I have an open mind. I'm a good guy. I really am. I haven't made up my mind one way or the other. But if there was some kind of a situation involving you and Avery that Friday night, this is your opportunity to talk to me about it right here, right now. Does that make sense to you? Look, I know she's a handful, okay? I've got 4 kids. I understand being exhausted. I understand frustration, okay? Parents, well-intentioned parents, get frustrated. Sometimes people lose their cool momentarily. I understand that. People get it. But what people don't understand is when somebody does something with, malintent in their mind already. Okay? If you lost your cool for a second, then we need to talk about it. All right? We can work through it together. But you can't lie about it. You can't lie about that. Okay? Because we know it didn't happen that way. And it's not me. The medical science behind it. We know that. It's not my opinion. It's the science, okay? All right. So let's take a deep breath here. We're cool. We're friends, okay? I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I just need to understand what happened between you and Avery. Was she kind of pushing your buttons, or?
No, Friday she wasn't.
Okay.
Nothing happened.
Well, how did she sustain that injury?
I don't know.
Okay. You are listening to me right now, Britney. Britney, listen to me. Okay, I'm throwing you a lifeline. Okay? I'm trying to do a good job as an investigator, okay? I'm trying to fully understand what happened to your daughter. Your daughter's not with us anymore, and that makes me feel sad. It really does. I love children. the notion, the story that you're telling me, I know is not true. Okay? You give her a clean bill of health, you lay her down, and then an hour later, you wake up to some noise. You go in, you're creating this kind of, she's hot, I put her in the tub scenario. No, that's not true. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. And I want to give you an opportunity. I want to give you a chance to talk to me about this. I mean, if something happened and there was an accident and you got nervous and you told me one thing when in fact something else occurred, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to get that across to you right now. I need to know now.
And I understand that, but nothing happened. What I'm telling you is what happened.
Okay. You do understand what I'm telling you is absolutely the truth, though. It's a subdural hematoma. It's the result of blunt force that created that injury. That's not a policeman telling you that. That's medical science. That's what I know. That's the information that I have. They did a full autopsy on your daughter. Okay, that's not even open to debate. It's not debatable. I mean, my whole thing is I thought, maybe there was something that occurred, and because of your history, maybe you felt a little bit nervous to share that with me initially. And I do understand that, okay? I get it. But what I don't understand is if something did happen like that, that I'm being open and upfront with you, telling you, and then you keep that information from me. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me that you would intentionally keep that from me unless you were trying to hide something. I don't think you are. I just think you're nervous. All right? But I want to work with you. I want to get to the bottom of this together. Do you want to help with the you want to help with your daughter's investigation? Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you got to trust me a little bit. Okay? Trust me on this. Okay? And I'm telling you, I'm looking you in the eye, and I'm telling you, I want you to understand that I know you're not being truthful, and I'm not upset about it. Okay? I'm not. If I was upset, I'd be jumping up and down, carrying on like an idiot, and I'm not doing that. Okay? I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay? As a parent, as a fellow parent, I'd like to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you have to help me. You have to help me understand what really occurred that night. I need your help.
And I told you what I know.
Okay.
I didn't do anything to my daughter.
Was it an accident? Were you doing one thing and something else happened? Were you intending to do one thing and something got out of control?
When she told me she was hot, I got her up and we walked into the bathroom. She got into the tub when I seen her face, and I turned on the shower. And that is everything that happened Friday night.
Okay. Well, that's not everything, and you know that. Okay. And what I just told you about you helping me understand the truth from that night, that's my expectation of everybody that come in here and sit in and talk with me, is that they be truthful and that they be helpful. Okay? And you're doing neither at this point.
It's because I don't know how that happened to my daughter.
Okay. Well,
I understand you don't believe me.
Well, hang on. The injuries were so significant. Okay? The injury was so significant that when she suffered that blow to her head, that it incapacitated her. The symptoms immediately were present. She went out. Okay? The pink top in the blue jeans and the duct tape. Do you know where we found that at? You do know.
I'm going to assume her clothes were in her room.
Okay, well, the pink top and the blue jeans and the duct tape were in the sink in the bathroom, and it was wet.
The top and the blue jeans,
Brittany, listen to me, okay? I want you to, I'm giving you a chance. I don't want you to miss your opportunity. I mean that, okay? You're not trusting me, and part of me understands that. Part of me does. But I'm lending you an opportunity. I'm giving you a chance to explain what occurred in this I fell ill. We know that's not true. Okay? That head trauma was so significant. All right? The head trauma was so significant that those symptoms would have presented themselves immediately. Like she went out. And I know she had on the pink top and the little blue jeans.
No, when the paramedics picked her up,
okay.
She was on the floor in a yellow top that was soaking wet. So why would I change her clothes?
I don't know. Explain that to me.
I didn't change her clothes. She walked to the bathroom with me. She climbed in that bathtub. I don't care that you don't believe me. That is what happened, and now I'm done. Because I'm getting to the point. I'm upset.
Okay. It is upsetting. You're right. It's very upsetting. Well, here's the deal. Okay. I'm going to have you relax for a second. Okay. I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to talk to some of my bosses. Okay. I want you to stay seated. Try to relax a little bit. And I'll be right back in with you, okay? You got any questions for me? All right, hang in there.
In the end, Britney Mays pleaded guilty to aggravated murder, and the court sentenced her to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years. But the sentence never changes the part that hurts most. Averylee Hobbs had already survived one warning, and the people around her had already seen too much. By the time the case was over, the real damage was done. A child was gone, a family was shattered, and a system that was supposed to protect her had nothing left to say. For those left behind, the ending wasn't justice in the clean, satisfying sense people want from a case like this. It was only final.